The first process in the bioprocess is upstream, where in a known strain is grown in a fermenter. At Allozyme, we have 1.5 liter to 14 liter fermenters, wherein we optimize and scale up the process. At 1.5 liter, it is a geometric volume, and we work with 1 liter there. And in 14 liters, we have a 10 liter volume. And these are all fully automatic. We can monitor and control the fermenters in a real time. These fermenters also can be run in a batch mode, fed batch mode, and continuous mode. The 1 liter fermenters will help rapid testing of media, pH, and temperatures. At higher scale, that is 14 liter, we call it as a pre-pilot scale, where we optimize all the parameters before we move on to a bigger one, that is 100 liter. This is a 100 liter fermenter where we geometric volume is 150 liter, but working volume what we operate is about 100 liter. And this is an industrial scale down model where complete steam sterilization can be handled automatically, and also media can be sterilized, and it completely incorporates CIP and SIP and the pressure hold test. It automatically adjusts the fermentation conditions such as feed and pH control, and which has a SCADA system in it. Moving on to the downstream side. So the moment the upstream process goes on, parallelly also we start understanding the steps that required for carrying out the downstream process. The general downstream processes are cell lysis, cell separation, product concentration, chromatography, drying, and packaging. The very steps I would say is the cell lysis, but it also depends on the product expression. If the product is produced intracellular, then only this step can be implemented. If not, then straight away we move on to a cell separation. So for cell lysis, we have three methods mainly categorized as physical, chemical, and biological. So in physical method, we use homogenizers, sonicators, and manual cell grinding also used. Among these, homogenizers are considered to be more reliable and they are scalable ones. In chemical method, surfactants, alkali, acids, and solvents are also tested. In biological approach, we use enzymes which can lyse the cells. Once the cell is being lysed, the next step is a cell separation, wherein most of the insoluble components and active cells are removed from the media. So several instruments are used in these steps. It can be tabletop centrifuges, it can be continuous centrifuges, also filtration system. Basically, the models which are of industrial use is like the filtration model and the continuous centrifuge. At Allozyme, we have a filtration system where we evaluate and optimize the steps here for the next step. The product concentration. Soon after the product is being centrifuged and the suspension and the dead cells are removed, the product remains in a diluted form. Hence, it needs to be concentrated for further process. So for this, filtration systems can be tested, and secondly, also resins can be used. At Allozyme, we have a system where it can be concentrated to certain extent and processing is done. Also, we have a couple of resins which we can test and understand the absorption and concentration part. Chromatography step. In this step, it is, I would say, it's a polishing step wherein you remove all the unwanted impurities and get the product to a desired quality. So the system has a pumping module and also the column where different resins like polar and non-polar resins are tested and the process is optimized and product is collected. The drying step. This step really depends on the format of the product. If the product requires to be in a solid format, then vacuum drying, freeze drying, or spray drying can be utilized. Vacuum drying basically used for the semi-solid products where moisture is about 50 to 60%, and freeze drying is for the products where they are very temperature sensitive. Spray drying is a very economical drying process for the food products such as milk and product and dyes. The final step I would say is a packaging and storage where we evaluate the temperatures and humidity to enhance the shelf life of the product. Also the closure container system where it is compatible to store it in a longer duration.